This tutorial is for Sierra Providence East Medical Center. It's going to show you how to run the test manually, or what Blue Pillar calls manually. So let's get started. You would get the test started as if you were going to be running a normal test. So you could go ahead and hit setup. The event setup wizard comes up, and then you select the event type, which in our case would be a monthly load test. Then you select the group that you want to test on. In this case, it should be all ATSs, just as if you were running a normal test. So let's go ahead and select that. Then you get the other options. In this case, since we're going to do it manually, what we want to go ahead and do is make sure we select the initiate commands through the user interface checkbox. So let's go ahead and select it. And then what we want to do is make sure that we have the correct initiating ATS, or the one that we desire. It can be any ATS, it doesn't matter. Just make sure that the one that you want to start off with is the one that in fact is selected. It's going to be very important for us to do that. So let's go ahead. Well, in this case, we don't have to make any changes, and we'll just keep it as is. Okay, so now we can go ahead and hit next. Actually, let me double check, make sure everything's good. And we can hit next now. Okay, here we're just going to go ahead and hit next. That's always going to stay the same. Doesn't really matter. Same thing here. Want to keep that the same. Here we don't need to check anything, and just go ahead and hit finish. Once we hit finish, we can go ahead and hit the run button once we confirm that everything is okay and we're good to go, and the facility is okay with us initiating the test. So let's go ahead and hit the run button, and immediately you should see a bunch of plus and minuses coming out. There you go, right next to each of the ATSs except for the initiating ATS. So what we'll do now is we'll wait for the initiating ATS to transfer over, and once they transfer over, we can actually go ahead and hit all these little plus signs, so that we can send the start command, or the transfer to emergency command, to each of the ATSs. If you ever want to exclude the ATS, you can go ahead and hit the minus bubble, and that would exclude the ATS from the test itself. But in this case, we don't want to do that, so we just go ahead and select or click each of the ATSs individually, so that we can start sending it the start command. And while I do this, keep in mind that since you guys are having problems with ATS CR01, if it's not the initiating ATS, if ATS CR01 is not the initiating ATS, you guys want to leave that one to the end. And as you can see in this video, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm leaving ATS CR01 until the very end, and then I'm waiting for all the ATSs to transfer over. And I'm doing this because of that data loss error that you guys are obtaining or getting right now because of the problems with your IT equipment. So until we see that all these other ATSs have switched over to emergency, we can then hit the plus sign right next to ATS CR01, so that we receive that we send that command to ATS CR01. It's very important, it's crucial that we wait until the end. And then once we confirm that all the ATSs have switched over, we go ahead and include ATS CR1. So let's click that plus bubble, and you see that now all of the ATSs are included in the test, and the plus and minus bubbles go away. There's that data loss error that we see whenever that ATS transfers over. So let's just wait for it to do its thing. It's going to show offline and it's going to come back online eventually. So there you go. It comes back online. And now all of them are included in the load test. And again, this is very important. You want to make sure that all your ATSs transfer over before you tell ATSCR01 to go ahead and transfer. If for whatever reason ATSCR01 happens to be the initiating ATS, then do the same thing we did before. Allow the initiating ATS to transfer over. You'll receive the data loss error once the ATS CR01 transfers over, and then once everything stabilizes, go ahead and hit the little plus button right next to all of the ATSs. So now all we're doing is we're just waiting for that 1 minute interval for it to start the countdown. And in this case, what you'll see is that I'm going to send the stop command to ATS FP, or the fire pump ATS. I'm going to send it the stop command as soon as the test starts, and that's primarily because, or the reason for that is because this specific ATS has a 30-minute retransfer delay. So we want to keep this test as close as possible to 30 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and send it the signal now, and now that we've removed the signal, the ATS itself will time out. And let's see here. And yeah, so now it's on its own 30-minute timer. So we should be expecting that ATS to transfer over after 30 minutes. And all the other ATSs that are on this, that are in your site, have a 5-minute retransfer delay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and wait until about 4.5 minutes or 4 minutes are left on the timer, and then I'm gonna go ahead and hit all these little minus signs that you're seeing on the screen now, right next to the ATSs, so that we can go ahead and remove that test signal. So let's just give it a few minutes for the timer to reach about 4 minutes. So now that we are near the 4-minute mark, I'm going ahead and removing the remote test signal from all the ATSs. As you can see, I clicked all the minus buttons on all of the ATSs, and so now pretty much all we should be expecting, or all that's going to happen, is there's going to be a 5-minute retransfer delay for each of the ATSs, and then we should see all of the ATSs transfer back to normal. So here we are. The counter has reached 0, and as you can see, fire pump ATS is the ATS that has already transferred back, and we should see here in a minute all the rest of the ATSs transferring over to normal power source as well. So let's give it a few minutes, and we should see all the ATSs transferring back. There goes another one. So let's just be patient and give it some time. And here, once again, we see that when CR01 transferred back to normal, we get that data loss error. So we also have to give it a few minutes again, unfortunately, for it to come back up. And here you see that all ATSs have gone back to normal. And now we're just waiting for the generator cooldown to finish for the test to be completed. So let's give it some more time for the generators to cool down. Okay, so we now see that everything went back to normal and the test has been completed. Now what we want to do is we want to go under the Events tab, and we want to make sure that we complete the post checklist so that we can get our report. So let's click on it, and then let's just hit finish. And we're gonna have to give it a few minutes for whatever reason. This is something that takes quite a bit of time, so we want to hit finish and then give it some time to do its thing and implement the event into the calendar and generate the report and send it out to the appropriate parties. So it's doing quite a bit, so this is more than likely why it's taking quite a bit of time for it to complete that process. But what will happen is once it's done with that process, you'll just see this pop-up box go away, and then the event itself should show up in the event calendar. So let's wait a little bit, and there you go.